Hello everybody. My name is Alex Amiel. I'm the president and CEO of Newman's Own Foundation. We're delighted to host you for this webinar. As a reminder, we were founded by Paul Newman and A.E. Hotchner in 1982. Started selling some salad dressing, and since the beginning, we have given all the profits and royalties away from the sale of products, which now include pizza, pasta, popcorn, and more. So since 1982, Paul and Newman's Own Foundation have given away over $600 million to good causes. Some of what we do today relates to the topic that is at hand for this webinar, and we wanted to introduce a number of our grantee partners around this. But without further ado, I will pass it on to my colleague, Emily Yu, who is our Chief Partnerships and Program Officer. Thank you, everybody.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Alex, for that warm introduction and welcome to what I hope will be a very exciting conversation. What we're going to do today, you can see on this slide, I want to give you a little sneak peek. Over the next hour, you're going to hear from three wonderful partners that we work with here at Newman's Own Foundation. First, you'll hear from Mosaic Film Experience on some storytelling and media literacy as it relates to amplifying food justice and curriculum with children and youth. You'll also hear from our colleague Aaron, who's going to be sharing about his work guiding and leading Indigenous foodways in schools, working with the Tlingit and Haida tribe. You'll also hear from our good colleague Beth over at FRESHFARM on whole school food education and a really dynamic curriculum that they've put together in addition to a wealth of other resources like FoodPrints and other curriculum that's being used in schools today. Next slide, please. Wonderful. And so just a quick little note before we get started on some housekeeping items. So yes, this recording will be shared on our YouTube page afterwards. So feel free to come back to this if it's helpful. We also encourage and invite questions throughout this session. You can use the Q&A box and you can also chat as well. And on that note, I do want to invite you, I'll put this in just a moment, but to get started, we'd love some participation from those of you who have joined and engaged with you. And the first question I'm going to pose for you all to answer in chat is, what is your definition of a food citizen? Do you have stories? Do you have resources? Do you have an example? Or how are you framing that term, food citizen? We'd love to hear from you in the chat box. And last but not least, if you want to hear more and never miss one of these engaging sessions or more information, funding opportunities, news about what partners are doing at Newman's Own Foundation, I encourage you to sign up for our newsletter. And there's the URL there, also available on our website. Next slide. Perfect. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome Elizabeth Merriman, who is the Manager of Programming and Education for the Mosaic Film Experience. It's a really dynamic educational platform that's sole focus is on empowering underrepresented youth and using storytelling and emerging creative opportunities to help with their career paths. So Elizabeth, over to you.
Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you so much, Alex and Newman's Own Foundation. I'm so excited to be here. Really quick before we get in, I just wanted to share, I wanted to start with something that I've seen over and over in our work. When we give students a platform and permission to tell their own stories about the issues they're passionate about, they will always, always show up. When they show up, something transformative can happen, not just for them as they explore and share their perspectives for the first time, but for all of us as we gain new understanding from their eyes. You're all here today because you care about growing the next generation of food citizens. And I'm hoping that I can help with that about how to engage youth and especially how we can bring in the encouraging them and inspiring them to be informative storytellers, to help them with their growth, to be advocates for food justice. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about making videos and telling stories. It's about building advocates, critical thinkers, and those engaged citizens. It's all about wanting to embrace their perspectives and their voices and to give them that opportunity. Go ahead and next slide. Thank you, Sam. So why does the youth voice matter? Wait, hold on. Yep, sorry. Oh, wait. Thank you. We're skipping ahead. Can we go back to the slide 2, why the youth voice matters?
Sam, I think one
Can
more
we,
step back. Do you mind?
can we,
Here we go.
yep, and then the next slide. So sorry. So youth impact. One slide back, please. Sorry, Sam, it should be the impact, youth impact.
Yeah, there might be a lag there. I think
I
that's
think there's a lag.
sure. Yeah,
Thank you so much for everyone's patience.
indeed.
I know Sam is hard at work.
Hey Liz, this is the current slide that we have, and then the next slide is actually this digital storytelling for food justice.
Oh, okay. So there should, okay, no worries. We will skip around. That is my fault. Thank you so much for everyone's patience. So one of the things that I really wanted to kind of share today is the power of helping students become from consumers to creators. Students today are consuming more media than any generation. It is at their disposal 24/7. And one of the top media consumption is about food, whether that is content creators telling them what food they eat every day, what's healthy, what's trendy, but less and less about the issues at hand. And so when we flip the script of helping students becoming from passive recipients to creators, they become storytellers with agency. And to be able to give them the opportunity to start asking the questions of who gets to tell stories about food, what perspectives are missing, what narratives can be challenged, giving them the opportunity to not only share their perspectives, but to learn as they share, and then we learn and we are embraced in a new perspective right along with them. They are also gaining access to accessible tools. So digital storytelling is using tools students already have, their phones, their tablets, various apps that they already have access to. It's accessible, it's immediate, and it meets students where they are. Nourishing Narratives was created to be able to give a voice to youth and to give them an opportunity to share on issues that matter to them, such as food justice. It is a competition open to 13 to 18, all shot and edited right on a mobile device. So again, is it accessible and available? And they have opportunities to not only share their stories, become advocates for food justice and informed food citizens, but also gain that recognition of being empowered to keep having the agency in their voices and the power of their personal narratives. So why is it important? What is the bigger picture? What is the student impact of what youth can create? They can create personal stories about cultural traditions, family recipes, identity that they see in food, community investigation and community engagement. What is their community lacking? How can they help promote community health, especially with food? They can document different organizations, powerful food citizens that are already informed and in trying to encourage change in the community. And they create advocacy. They use visual metaphors, experimental narratives, and call for policy changes. Nourishing Narratives opened the door for so many youth that had never made a film, but were already passionate about food justice or made films, use their phones regularly, but didn't know about food justice. So they gave them opportunity to seek new stories, seek new knowledge. Go ahead, next slide.
That smells okay.
When I first walked into the hydroponics lab, I didn't know what to expect. There were lights hanging over towers of plants, no dirt anywhere, just roots and tubes and green leaves. It looked more like a science experiment than a garden. We started with basil. I measured the pH of the water, add nutrients, and check the light cycles. Every morning I come in and see something new, a sprout, a longer root, another leaf. It feels good to take care of something and watch it grow. It feels steady. Where I live, it's not always easy to find fresh food. Most of the stores nearby don't carry much that's green. I've never actually been to a farmer's market outside of school, but this year I helped run one. I bottled a dressing I made from basil I grew. We sold out. I couldn't believe it. At the start, I didn't really get what food justice meant, but now I see it's about who gets access to good food and who doesn't. I think everyone should be able to grow something, or at least have something fresh to eat. Sometimes people look at me and don't understand who I really am. I think a little differently because I am autistic, but I think it's awesome because it helps me notice things or get things other people don't. People might not know how hard I work or what I've been through, but when I'm growing my plants, none of that matters. I am just another student with a grow tray, a notebook, and a job to do. I used an AI voice for this film because saying all of this out loud is a lot for me, but the words are mine. This is my story. Hydroponics taught me that you don't always need the perfect conditions to grow. Sometimes you just need a place to start, a little care, the right kind of light.
Jojo, I made this dressing.
That is an example of Josiah Lessie from New York City, one of our top 10 winners from Nourishing Narratives that we are very, very proud of. His story really shows what's possible when youth have agency over their narratives about food systems and food justice. He's a wonderful example of an informed food citizen and also an example of every student has a story, even students that we might push to the side that we don't think that they would have a powerful perspective. The greater impact. So when youth lead their stories, they become advocates, critical thinkers, and engaged citizens, transforming their learning and our understanding of food justice, helping not only themselves be empowered and informed food citizens, but us as well. They're already creating content on their phones and they're channeling toward food justice. There's an authentic assessment because you see and truly understand different food systems when they explain it in their own words, their own way. One project can build voice, literacy, advocacy, creativity all at once. When students are allowed a platform, an outline to follow, they will always be willing to use it. And Nourishing Narratives and Newman's own foundation are wonderful examples of being able to give those students that platform to share their perspectives, to help themselves be more informed, to help themselves be more active in their own communities so they can become the best food citizens and storytellers of food justice. So I encourage you visit nourishingnarratives.com. My information is also in there too. We have lots of curriculum guides, tools, how-to, especially checklists on how to get started, how to talk to your students, how to maybe talk to your children, your neighbors, organizations that you may be a part of. This is a wonderful opportunity for not only youth to get involved in an issue that is already important to them, or they may not have already been informed of, but also for us as a community to come together and to build up food justice and build those next generation of food citizens.
Elizabeth, thank you. That's wonderful. Before we move on to Aaron, who's going to speak with us next, I would love, can you give us just a little tidbit of advice or guidance when it comes to child safety, when it comes to being sort of conscientious about youth and film and telling their story in a public platform? Could you give us a nugget or two on that, given your depth of experience?
Oh, I'd be happy to. So there is a good rule of thumb that when it comes to sharing youth on the internet, any kind of creative content or any content that involves youth, and that is 18 and lower. There are specific guidelines on social media for 13 and up and 13 and below, but it's a really good rule of thumb to be conscientious of consent. If they are 18 or older, you still want to consent. But if they're younger, you want to have those conversations with their parents. You want to have conversations with the students themselves, not specifically asking permission, but just so they're informed of how their content is being used, if they are being filmed, if their stories are being used in a way that they didn't anticipate. You want to give them that opportunity to understand and also consent or not to have things used. A good rule of thumb as well is we tend to only share first names. We only tend to show faces that we specifically have written consent or releases from parents or guardians. And it is more of a just common sense of, would you be comfortable having your name and likeness for for what you are showing? If you are not comfortable, a student might not be comfortable. So just kind of think of you yourselves, if you had a student, if you had a child, what would you give permission for?
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Very helpful and always a good reminder. So I think we can move on to perfect. Thanks, Sam. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Erin, who we've been working with and had the joy and honor of learning from for the last few years. Erin's leading efforts to bridge the traditional knowledge gaps between elders and youth by teaching harvesting, processing, and food preservation, using tools like education tools, storytelling, and really providing access to traditional foods. As just one of the examples of his work with the Tlingit and Haida, he is engaging, just in one example, over 180, almost 200 children ages 3 through 5 in hands-on nutrition education using culturally relevant curriculum focused on traditional food preparation. So we're going to hear a little bit about that, as well as more of the work that Erin and his group is doing. Erin, over to you.
Good Ashish, Emily, to Newman's Own Foundation for having me and for your help and support over the last couple of years. Very excited to be here. Stagwan Yuhatduasak. My Tlingit name is Stagwan. My family is from the Likhadi clan, Dagana Heat, which is the faraway house. I am now currently calling Wrangell, Alaska home. We're a little island of just over 2,000 people, currently buried in about 8 to 10 inches of snow. Typically, we get a lot of rain, so this is a little bit out of the norm, but pardon me if I have hat head because I've been in and out shoveling snow around my house when I have breaks between. So thank you for having me. About our tribe, the Central Council, Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes of Alaska. We serve 21 communities, 38,000 tribal citizens total. 18 of those communities are located in Southeast Alaska. Only 2 of those communities are actually on the mainland. We are an archipelago. Most communities, like Wrangell, are on an island, and the only way to get there, we're lucky enough to have Alaska Airlines in Wrangell. Only a couple communities are. Bush plane, ferry, which is infrequent, is usually how most people travel between islands, as well as food, or we rely on the barge service, which is slow, expensive, and sometimes your produce has been in a container for a week with no sunlight, and you might have to eat it that day, otherwise it'll go bad. So that's always something we're trying to navigate. At the tribe, our mission: preserve our sovereignty, enhance our economic, cultural resources, promote self-sufficiency and self-governance for our citizens. Right in there, we're leaning into the sovereignty aspect with our food program and promoting self-sufficiency. We can't be everywhere at once, but the more important part for it is to support our people into being self-reliant and doing so with food. So next slide, please. Traditional food security, our program was formed in 2022 out of ARPA funding. Through the pandemic, our tribe looked at it as, yes, we want to connect people with foods through some food grants, but we want to do so and build a program, an educational program that accompanies it. So we worked with USDA's local food purchase agreement. Over a couple of years, we submitted, it was closer to 300,000 pounds of commercial seafood harvested commercially by tribal citizens, processed by my team of tribal citizens, and distributed to over 4,500 tribal households, Southeast Alaska, Anchorage, and beyond whenever we could. We were able to do so with salmon and black cod, two types of salmon actually, coho and sockeye, and then also herring roe, which I'll talk to you about here shortly. Unfortunately, just about this time last year, I think it was March 7th, program was considered no longer a priority for the USDA and was severed just as we were in our planning stages. So we were always working towards a balance. Yes, it's important to connect people with their food, but we also need to have an education aspect to it as well. Otherwise, we're giving them food, not explaining how to be self-sufficient or do something with it. So we had to expedite that education aspect and really lean into it as we're trying to find more money for distributing our food. Really quickly, this is my team. We're small but mighty. In that group picture on the left is my boss, Ralph Wolf. I am on his left, but the team that really does all the work and deserves the credit is pictured individually on the right hand of the screen. Tony Christensen's the senior coordinator. He's the one with the deer behind him, and he's got the beanie on looking really stoic. He has 40 plus years of harvesting experience, 25 plus years of experience working with native environmental resources, and he is actually the chairperson of the Federal Subsistence Board, which is getting some pushback as for our tribal representation on there. So he's really crucial for what we do, not just in our program, but across the state and country. Next to him, smiling with the mustache and the youth, drying halibut, is Claude Young. He is in Heidelberg as well as Tony. They have both been with the program since just after its inception, and they are primary harvesters and doing our demonstrations and also creating our educational videos. Below is Helene. She's been with the tribe for more than 15 years. She is on the boat there during a harvest with a bunch of youth at a culture camp. That's her favorite place to be, hence the smile. She keeps us all in line, traveling the communities we need to, and make sure we're not getting off track and we're able to complete all of our tasks. So she is definitely invaluable to what we're doing. So we as a tribe, as a people, we worked traditionally on a foods calendar, the traditional 12-month Gregorian calendar. Historically, our people who were a spoken history, nothing written, spring was marked by when the herring spawn showed up. And summer was marked by when the salmon were coming. And fall was here by the time the deer were in the rut. And then it was like, you better have your food put up to get you over until spring. We are now into March, and late March, the first few days of April are when the herring spawn in Southeast Alaska. That used to take place in areas all over Southeast, but due to the impacts of overfishing, climate change, we are now only seeing those in a couple places. One is Sitka, which is the most prominent and where most of the commercial herring are farmed from. Also, Prince of Wales, which is near Heidelberg where we're at. And this is Fish Egg Island near Craig, and that's where the spawning is taking place. So we are prepping because once this starts, our harvest season is kind of in full bore all the way through until September. And always like the herring egg spawn was very crucial and very monumental for our people. Not just that spring was here and this new valuable protein was here, but this was something that brought people out. It was widely shared. There's history of these herring eggs being shared all the way up and down the West Coast and up north into the villages. And it's just very important to sort of usher in spring and harvest with the herring eggs. When we were at the LFPA and the USDA program, we were able to purchase commercially. There's a couple different harvests. What you're seeing is a commercial harvest. Right now they have a pen built on the left, and he's holding a large piece of kelp. You basically run lines around tied to pieces of kelp every so many feet all throughout those pens. herring are then harvested and put into the pen, where they then spawn, and the roe attaches itself to this kelp. The herring are then released to make it more of a sustainable program, as opposed to commercial herring harvest, which harvest them whole, doesn't give them a chance to spawn, usually ships them to Japan and other places, and depletes our food systems. So this is a pretty sustainable spot or practice, and we were able to use that to in 2024 distribute more than 21,000 pounds of herring roe to those 4,000 plus households. And actually in 2023, the program started and we were able to give about 18 or 19,000. That predated me, but 4 to 5 pound boxes to all those households twice, and was really excited to be doing this year. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So, but it's really a sustainable practice using tribal citizen commercial fishermen, keep the money local, keep the food local, and to do so with balance. So traditionally, the preferred harvest is on branches, as they call. Um, these are typically hemlock, and as you can see in the larger picture on the left, that's actually our boat. The Cadillac 2, I believe, is the name. Sort of came with us, but through our grants, we're actually able to repower that boat with new outboards, making it more sustainable and safe. Not only are those older outboards, we can't even get them serviced on the same island. So every time we got to get them worked on, it's several $1,000s and several weeks out of the water. So thank you to Newman's Own Foundation. We are able to outfit that with a new, more efficient, more safe outboard and save ourselves thousands of dollars a year because we were able to get them repaired on Prince of Wales Island. So um, on the left, you see them anchoring off these hemlock branches, typically just with a rock and some line. And you check them daily when you can. One of the good things, that's our partner right there, Cody. He works for the Heidelberg tribe in their environmental program. He's running a drone. He's teaching our team to run our drone so that it's making it a lot easier to go and see what a spawn looks like. Usually you have to rely on somebody in the island flying over with a bush plane, but now with all that access, it's a way to blend uh, new technology with traditional methods. So um, with those anchors, you'll again see in those other pictures, including Tony smiling in that lower left-hand one. That's what a traditional harvest looks like. Most people love that branch. It's all about the texture. And we share with the elders whenever possible too. So we're making sure that our kids get some and the elders and anyone between that's in need. But that's typically how the traditional harvest is. We'll be focusing primarily on that this season, given the lack of commercial funding. Thank you to Newman. So we were able to actually connect our youth last year with Harry Rowe into all of our classrooms, our early education classrooms, and we'll be doing so again this year. Um, that connection with the food is really crucial. Like we are hands-on learners, and that age group, they're really adventurous, and if we can get them to try something, um, they're going to be fired up about it. They're going to want to learn more. They're going to harvest themselves, and we hope to sort of light a fire under them. So connecting them with the important, but then also to then not just leave them be, but to provide them or those around them, their family, their teachers with educational materials, YouTube videos, instructions like that. We hope to inspire biologists, stewards of our land, and anything like that, and or just harvesters in their communities to help, replace some of those processed foods with traditional foods. And as we're getting ready to start this video here, that's Marita. She is working on our Indigenous trades, and we'll see her husband Ben, who works with our Haida language. Um, we are trying. This is a digital resource that we use. We got funding to make 8 videos through Newman's. We were actually able to produce 10 long form videos and countless shorter form videos like this, which come with it. This is a short way to show how we integrate language and connect people with the food and that language. Our culture typically, is passed through arts and song and dance and regalia, but foods is a way too, and that's something that was really underserved. So really looking through our program to lift that up and find avenues to not only connect people to that food, but to teach them language while we're doing it. So here's a little short reel that we showed.
Thanks, Aaron. And I'm just going to jump in here and say after this, if we could move quickly through that last slide or two, then we'll turn it over to Beth. All right, Sam.
But we're gonna make pickled fish eggs. Has anyone tried pickled fish eggs? Does anyone know how to say jar in Haida?
Any kind of jar, bottle, or glass container like this is Coke. Coke.
Everyone say Coke.
Coke. Coke. Coke.
So everyone take your Coke, one Swanson Coke.
It's a really simple process where you put in the fish eggs. You put in about one third cups of vinegar, 1/3 jar of soy sauce, and then top it off with a little pickling spice. Give it a good shake, and then it's good to be enjoyed. Actually, you want to put it in the refrigerator for a little while and let it sit, so it really soaks in that flavor.
We're gonna take the vinegar. Everyone want to look, and we're gonna fill half.
It's important that they nourish themselves the way their people have done it for generations and generations, for thousands of years. It's important that they continually do that and continually sustain themselves from the land. It brings the connection to the land. It brings the respect for the resources.
Should we eat them now?
Eating on soup. Cow.
Go.
Cow. We're creating their identity even now and laying it out for them, because when they go out, whether they decide to live in the city or decide to live on the East Coast, wherever it may be, foods like this are what always reminds them of home, and they'll always remember that nourishment, that feeling, and the connections that they made.
But we're gonna.
Thank you for that. Again, this is a way for us to bring all things together that we're working on as a tribe and really hit that crucial 3 to 5 year old sort of age gap, because they're really impressionable and just excited at that age. So like I mentioned earlier, that through Newman's Own Foundation, we were able to produce some longer form videos, so that if you're not overwhelmed, if there's times where you could be displaced citizen, maybe you live in Seattle and someone gives you a salmon or things like that. We don't want you to just look at it, that what do I do with it, and then stick it in your freezer and you don't get to use it. So we want to make sure that we supply those materials. These were made through the grant, aimed at our schools, but be able to use by anyone. So if you do go out and you're with somebody, you shoot a deer, you get a salmon, halibut, anything else, we're going to show you how to process it, how to put it up, how to prepare it, so that we can remove our barriers of being separated by islands and expensive travel, and take advantage of that digital resource and be wherever we can.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aaron. And I think, Sam, if you don't mind, I think there's contact info in the next couple of slides. Or there we go. Perfect. And Aaron, 2 questions did come in for you, so I'm going to hold them until we get through Beth's amazing presentation to make sure we have time, but I'll circle back so folks listening in,
Thank you.
Share your questions, and we'll get to those in just a moment. Beth, over to you. And I'm going to put in a third term. Food literacy is another question, so please jump into the chat with that too. Over to you, Beth.
Thank you, Emily. Good afternoon. It's nice to be here with you all today. Thank you to Newman's Own for having me and creating opportunities for all of us to share our work together. I'm here to share about our food education work in Washington, D.C., a very different landscape than Aaron just described, a really dense urban place, but we're trying to create gardens and access to local food and enjoyment, seasonal mid-Atlantic food, different than in Alaska. Okay, so we can go on to FRESHFARM. FRESHFARM is, no, go back one more. FRESHFARM is a Washington, D.C. based food systems organization. We empower individuals and communities with knowledge and agency to access and enjoy local nutritious food. We do this through running 25 farmers markets and farm stands, extensive food access programs, a local food hub, and hands-on food education. Through the FoodPrints program, we can next, we are transforming school communities by embedding joyful, academically aligned food education in schools. So this program is really built on partnerships with the school district and individual schools and school communities, with the long goal of empowering young people and families to make food choices that promote personal and environmental health. These are some pictures of our classes in action. We deliver what we like to call in-school field trips that immerse students in regular sessions throughout the school year of 90 minutes to 2 hours. And we're really able to take academic time out of the school day because of all of our sessions align with academics. So we're really getting kids to engage with math and science and social studies, reading and writing through food. Next slide. Well, there's a lot of small group learning that goes on in our classes. And by 4th or 5th grade, kids are cooking mostly independently. So it's like our gardens are a place to learn how food grows and take time to stop and appreciate in our like busy urban landscape. We grow crops year round in our gardens with a garden team. Back one, please. The way that we've been able to build trust and excitement for nutritious food, that acceptance just doesn't come in a snap, is really embedding trusted teachers in schools that are there and that really are it's not like a one size fits all model for every school. We try to adapt to the school goals and match teachers with school communities. And we take sort of a whole child approach, and we talk about how food makes you feel rather than what's good for you. So it's really based in these experiences of growing and cooking and harvesting and enjoying with your peers that gets kids to like this food rather than check it's good. So something I know a lot of you do. And we're grounded in a food systems approach. So we're growing local food. We're procuring it from local farmers in the Mid-Atlantic. Students are learning about those farmers, and we are composting. I also want to mention that some of the school meal vendors in DC, there are several of them, are using our recipes as produce-based inspirations and recipes on their school menus as mains and sides, including our longtime favorite Tuscan kale salad, our apple beet carrot ABC salad, and our plant part pasta. So there's connection with school meals as well. And Emily, there is a recipes link. And then some of those links about our program you can include in the chat at this point. Next slide. And because this is a food justice community, I wanted to call out our through lines in our curriculum. We have lessons focused on social justice, and we take this long view of food behaviors to just build this empowerment and agency and enjoyment that can last far past what we're doing with the kids, our time with them. Okay, so we have a quick 45-second video to show you what the program looks like in action here.
We're changing how kids understand, relate to, and experience food. You come to FoodPrints, you are planting seeds in the soil, you're pulling carrots out of the soil, you're washing them and cleaning them, you're working together with your classmates to turn them into something that you're actually going to eat, and then you're actually eating it together. Things like digging up sweet potatoes and turning them into sweet potato quesadillas. These kids come out of elementary school with wonderful, happy, connected community memories, appreciating it and feeling this like very profound sense of accomplishment that so many kids are then sharing with their families.
So I want to build on this idea of food literacy because it's really, we've embarked on this 2-year evaluation project with university researchers here at George Washington University to measure food literacy. But you can go to the next slide. For us, it's been a way to sort of open open the definition of what we're trying to do. So there's so much that goes into creating food citizens and so much that kids need to experience and gain and in order to have long-term impacts in their food choices. Next slide. So here's a quick view into how we're sort of defining that with these 4 dimensions around knowledge and confidence, valuing shared experiences, and being really purposeful about the engagement with food. Next slide. This is a quick glimpse of a evaluation tool developed and validated with our program, and I'm happy to talk about this offline or after how to access this one. Okay, next. And then I wanted to share some student voices that exemplify how this is happening, how kids are processing what it means to be food citizens and build food literacy. Oh, okay, Emily, how are we doing on time? Do we have 1 minute?
1 minute would be great.
Oh my. Okay. Okay, so I want to share some curriculum resources with you. So these are the resources that we have that you all can take and adapt and use. Our curriculum has 63 lessons. They contain several investigations. They're structured for different kinds of uses, small group, large group, connected to standards. Next slide. You can access them online in a searchable database. They're free just with a registration. We have something called FoodPrints TV with lots of lesson related and cooking skills videos. Next slide. I have a couple of lessons here that you can kind of see our structure and the different parts that we provide in the lessons. Next slide, I wanted to talk about that one a little more. This edible plant parts lesson gets kids to understand the scientific basis of different plant parts and just appreciate the food that they're eating, right? Different types of plants. We have the plant part sorting game. Ideas for recipes with different, we have a thing called plant part pasta, and then just kind of the idea of extension for aftercare out of school time, where there's like a small focus on leaves, and then you're making leaf-based like kale salads. Okay, next slide. There's lots of adaptations of our model, and we would love to work with you all on thinking through any of these if these feel like good fits. Lots of out of school time and after school resources that we have based on our out of school time summer and after school programs. A small school, K-8 school in a district in Kentucky is teaching these lessons on a special schedule. So there's a model there, and many resources in our lessons support classroom-based learning and project-based learning. So we are here to support you. Anything from like a 1-hour phone call to longer consultation and how you're trying to figure out how to use this in your own context. We'd love to work with you or learn from you how you're using these resources, as we all have a common goal to build food citizens in different contexts. So thank you.
Fantastic, Beth. Thank you. And I didn't mean to shortchange you on the intro. I dropped a little bit about you in the chat, so I hope folks will take some time to read about the wonderful work you're doing to support children and food. For all the rest of you, thank you so much for engaging in the chat and questions. We're going to now open it up. And Elizabeth, I'm just going to tee you up while I do a little bit of prep for Q&A, and invite you to comment on some of the great comments that came in on Food Citizen or any of the other ones, but Food Citizen was one that was relevant to your section. And then Erin, just a heads up, I got a great question coming your way in the Q&A that I'll tee up for you. And Beth will follow up with you and some comments on the food literacy piece and that real application of strategy. I'd love to probe on that a little bit. So keep the questions coming in and we'll tackle those. But Elizabeth, over to you first.
Hi again. So do you want me to kind of speak on some of the input that people have given? Is that what we're aiming toward? Okay, fantastic. So you all put a lot of great things in the chat. I'm so excited. It's been fun to read the chat as my fellow panelists have been talking. I learned so much from Beth and Erin. So food systems, having an understanding of where food comes from, challenges we face in our food system, and really thinking about it from the multiple lenses of production and consumption. From the youth lens, with food citizenship, especially understanding the different challenges. Each student, each youth, each person rather is going to have a different perspective and a different view because we experience food consumption, food systems very differently. From food insecurity to overabundance to community, a lack of healthy choices, to even talking about food quality in the cafeteria. That's always a thing that I know students concentrate on. But a lot of people in the chat the nail right on the head is about learning about multiple lenses. And when we go from consumers to creators, not only in media, but also in food justice realms, we become better informed food citizens because we are learning from the different perspectives. We are learning at the different elements of production, consumption, culture, wellness. So food citizen and media literacy go hand in hand because it's all about looking at the world through a different lens.
Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Such a unique perspective. Erin, would love to turn it over to you because you got several questions in the Q&A. So Sam, just a heads up, there was a question about one of the photos right before the video and the slide, if you don't mind trying to tee that up in the next minute or two. But Erin, in the meantime, you did get a question. I'll just narrate it. What, in your opinion, has been the most successful tactic for Tlingit and Haida to engage with younger kids? For example, where and like how do you use the videos in classrooms or in conversations or in community? Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, so in reality, like we get the most success when our kids are getting their hands dirty and they're actually learning how to safely, whether it be cut fish or try these foods, um, learning hands-on. We find that's when they're the most excited. At this point, a lot of the educational videos are for those people surrounding them, usually adults. It's as you can see the left, the ladies, we have volunteers and staff in all of our classrooms that need to know how do we prepare these? Like for these roe, they typically blanched and served maybe with some soy sauce. You can see someone dipping it in, but there's all sorts of ways. But um, we want to make sure that those youth are excited about it and those surrounding them um, are able to teach them about how to properly do it. So our staff, parents, family members, they'll be able to access these things. So when they go home and they do receive this food or harvest this food, they're able to keep it on the plates of our youth. So um, that's our most successful tactic to engage these younger kids is to get into their classrooms and to actually have them put their hands on these foods and their connection is as real as it can possibly be.
Fantastic, Erin. And thanks, Sam. This is the slide I believe somebody asked and just wanted to confirm what are folks holding in their hands? Do you mind repeating that one last time?
Yeah, so this is herring roe. This is the spawn of a herring. So herring eggs that when they are spawned, uh, these ones are typically clean too. You can see on the left of both of the adult picture and next to them the siblings. On the left-hand side is the herring roe on kelp, which was usually farmed commercially, and on the right is on branch, which is harvested traditionally. So just the eggs, the caviar type of herring in the region. So again, it's typically just blanched and dipped usually in butter or soy sauce or like pickled or anything else. People cut them up, put them in a green salad. It's a great source of protein and really a treat to the natives in our area.
Excellent. And I love this. The kids definitely seem engaged. I think the hands-on approach is definitely a great strategy.
It could be overwhelming just to give them these foods if you didn't, for like if you just put it on a plate and said, try this,
Mhm.
or you could get them in on the process and actually let them hold on to these things and really see it through. Then they're going to be more prone to actually try it and like it and ask more questions and want it again.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great segue actually to Beth. There was another question that came in for you. You alluded to the fact that you have these variety of curriculum. You've got the FoodPrints TV, you've got a number of hands-on activities that you're doing in these classrooms. How do you all think about evolving the curriculum over time? Or how can folks that might be listening in think about, I applied X, I got Y feedback, so maybe I can improve this or tailor it for my purposes to create something that works best for me. How do you all think about that at scale? Oh, Beth, I think you're on mute. Do you mind? Yeah, great.
I'm on mute. I am here. We are evolving our lessons as we go. So we watch how they're taught. We get input from our teachers. We edit and revise. And we just went through a revision process on our nutritious and delicious lesson, which is the hardest thing to talk about, right? What is good for you? What is healthy? What is nutritious? Like, how do you talk about that in this way that is non-judgmental and non-pressured and experiential? So we have a curriculum director that's thinking about that. I would say for folks looking to use our lessons, I mean, we'd love to sort of support you in lesson planning and pulling out pieces. And one of the most powerful things I think for us is how the skills and the concepts build on over time. So we're lucky because our kids get to participate over the course of their elementary school career. So we can introduce a concept when they're younger and then build on it later. They can gain independence, cooking. So it's that and somebody else had a question about medical education and food as medicine, and I just wanted to touch on that. I think it's this approach of integrating this food education and cooking and appreciation for where food comes from, and just what Erin said about being on the process and that into life, into family cooking, into it's not something extra, right? So that's hard. It means that we need to be in schools and part of the school, which is challenging, but it's been really effective. So that would be my charge for the medical community. Figure out how to do that. So.
Well said, well said. And I do just want to give a shout out and thanks to the individual that sent that in as part of their registration. We really do, we really do try to look at those questions and make sure those get answered as well as the live ones. But for the sake of time, this has been such a robust conversation. I am going to bring us to a close to make sure everybody gets out on time. So number one, just a reminder, this recording will be shared and made available on Newman's Own Foundation's YouTube page. We'll send an email out with that link. Two, if you could help us just keep getting better and offering better content that serves what you're interested in, we'd really appreciate your response to this brief 3-question survey. You can do it in 60 seconds or less. And I just want to close out. And if you can see on this slide, there's a couple funding opportunities. And the question we didn't get to answer, which I do apologize due to time, does speak to funding opportunities. So I want to flag these 3. You can find them all, Nourishing Narratives, which Elizabeth mentioned. Whole Foods Market Foundation has their garden grants open now. Deadline has been extended until March 15th, hot off the presses. And then lastly, the Food Justice for Kids Prize, which Newman's Own Foundation is supporting in addition to some co-funders. And that is live now. $100,000 grants over 2 years for folks working on food justice for kids. So I encourage you to check that out on our website. So if you'll join me in giving our 3 wonderful presenters a great big round of applause. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining and doing the work you're doing to support kids and food justice. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.